2 days before the exam, I took a practice test. Did horribly on it. Day before the exam, I tried to change the date of the exam. They wouldn't let me because it was too close to the exam. So I was like, great, I'm gonna fail tomorrow.
Thank you so much for the interview today. Could you please just introduce a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Zach Gollin. I'm 22 years old. I'm from New Jersey. I have a bachelor's in business administration from Hofstra University, which I just got this past May 2020. So I'm one of the COVID graduates. I'm going to be working at KPMG in New York City. I'm going to be an associate in their advisory practice. I just found out I passed my last portion of the CPA last week, or about a week, 2 weeks ago. Super excited to be here interviewing with you and to help people out.
How did you stay focused and maintain the drive and self-discipline?
So in order to stay focused and maintain that drive, you really have to understand what you're getting yourself into and create a routine for yourself. So the CPA exam is not easy. There are those special case scenarios, people who could pass it in. They could study for 2 weeks and they could pass an exam. Not everybody's like that. There's no pressure for anybody to be like that. Take as much time as you need and plan it out. Make a routine for yourself so that you know how much time you're studying every day, or at least how much you want to study every single day. And try to get yourself in this routine. If it's waking up early, studying for 2 hours before you do anything else in your day, then do it and commit to it. If it's get through your day and cut out all plans for the night, say, hey guys, maybe I'll come to dinner at 6, but by 8 o'clock I'm home and I'm studying, then do it and commit to it. Another thing that I think was very important for me in getting through this was communication. So I was with my family a lot, so I told them, I'm going to be doing a lot of studying. I'd appreciate if you didn't open my door too much, didn't try to bother me. If you really need me, of course, come ask, but I need a lot of time to focus and stay focused. My girlfriend too, I had to tell her, hey, you're gonna hate me some nights, but I'm gonna be studying pretty late, gonna be focused, and I told her I promise when this is all over, I'll make it up to you. And she fully understood that, and being forward and honest with yourself and the people around you is a great way of just staying focused and maintaining that drive and just getting through. Because at the end of the day, if you want to get through the CPA, I really believe that pretty much anybody can. I don't think all the information's that challenging. I think it's a test of dedication. And if you're honest with yourself and you communicate with those around you, you can get through the exam.
The next question is kind of the same information that you just mentioned about, but I still want to bring it up, that how did you manage your study time? Like how many hours specifically you study each day?
Like I said, getting myself into a routine was definitely the most important thing. I think how much I studied per day, and this is the best accounting answer that I could give, it depends. When I studied for FAR, I had a little bit more of a time crunch then. I kind of allotted a short amount of time for me to get it done. It was last winter, so I had my winter break from my classes, and then I had about 2 or 3 weeks into my classes where at that point I took the test, so it was 2 or 3 weeks in. So I knew I wanted to get all the studying done and then get it done so that I'm not getting into the harder parts of my classes. So it was a little bit more on a time crunch. So for FAR, there were some days I was studying for 8 hours, maybe more, maybe less. Like I said, I was following the Becker program pretty tightly. So every now and then they'd have a light module where it was like a 15-minute lecture, only a couple questions, and I'd get through that and I'd be like, great, easy day. Sometimes it'd be an hour-long lecture, 45 to 50, 60 questions, and I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to commit to this. So I would say, when I tell people about how much studying I did, I would say it's around 6 or so hours a day. Could be less, could be more. But like I said, it's a test of dedication. So understanding how much you have to get done and planning out ahead and time managing what you want to get done by a certain date, that's kind of the most important thing. After that, you dedicate, whatever time it may be. So yes, on average 6 hours, but hey, sometimes you might get an easy day, sometimes you might get a hard day. That's life.
Yep, that makes sense. And what did you do a day before the exam?
So the day before the exam, some people had told me, don't look at any information, just relax, take a day off, and go into that exam well rested. I kind of took a balance of that and reviewing, because like I said, sometimes I was on a time crunch, so I was just getting to that final information, like the days upcoming to the test. So I would always review a little bit. By then I didn't know everything, but I had an idea of what everything was. I was prepared for what the test could ask me. So I would do some reviewing of the harder topics, stuff that I wasn't as comfortable with. I would look it over and just kind of assess, like, all right, do I know this? Do I not? What can I do to review this right now real quick and not stress myself out? So I looked it over because there is a factor of you have to be consistently looking at this information for it to really be stored in your brain so that you can pass the test. But also, it was the day before the exam. I just burned out studying for weeks on end, so I did try to relax a little bit and enjoy myself, maybe stop studying early, watch a movie, get a good night's rest, and kind of, like I said, balance of relax, but also I still have to pass this test, so let me review a little bit.
During the time you study for this CPA exam, what were your top 5 exam preparation mistakes?
So my biggest mistakes, and there definitely were a few. One of the biggest ones, and I actually know a lot of people that are guilty of this too, and they when we talked, they said they did the same thing. They wish they didn't. Was studying when I was checked out. Everybody has their limit, and like I said, sometimes I was studying for hours and hours a day, and by the end of it, I'm just looking at the questions like, wide-eyed and dreamy, like I have no idea what I'm looking at right now, and just guessing on questions, not really putting in the full effort, and you don't really retain anything that way. So you have to know your limits. Push yourself, definitely push yourself. Don't make it easy for yourself. But if you're not retaining anything more, you're done for the day. Pick it up tomorrow. If you didn't do as much as you want, pick up the slack and do a little bit more tomorrow. But if you've reached a limit, it's not going to help you to go much more. Taking breaks, like I said, I had planned for it to be a little bit shorter, but there were those times where I was like, I just passed the test, I did all this work, give me a week or two, and then it turned into like 2.5 weeks where I was like, okay, I should probably get started now. So those breaks ended up being a little bit too long, or there was days where I didn't get enough done, and then the next day I didn't pick up the slack, and then it took like 2 or 3 days before I really made up for it. So those breaks just happened a little bit more excessively than I thought they'd happen. Not saying no to my friends was one. Hey Zach, come get food with us, come hang out tonight, whatever it may be. You do need to have the discipline, especially with the CPA exam, to say no. Just to be like, not tonight, I'm behind, I gotta pick it up, I really gotta study tonight. They'll understand. I've mentioned it before, communication is a huge thing that gets you through this exam. Talking to the people around you and saying, I'm making this commitment for me, and please understand, I don't mean to be absent, I don't mean to not respond to your text. I just think that this is very important for me to focus on right now. So sometimes I didn't say no when I probably should have put in that extra work. Thank God I've made it through, but definitely could have said no a couple more times. Another one, freaking out before my exams. Like I said, I try to relax and everything, but the BEC exam, this is a kind of a funny story. The day before the exam, or 2 days before the exam, I took a practice test. Did horribly on it. Day before the exam, I tried to change the date of the exam. They wouldn't let me because it was too close to the exam. So I was like, great, I'm gonna fail tomorrow. But then I took a step back, relaxed, thought about what topics I should review, talked to some of my friends that passed and said, hey, like, what was the important stuff that you saw? Found out what I really wasn't good at, reviewed, and BEC ended up being my best score. So the day beforehand, I was trying to get it changed. The next day, I absolutely killed it, in my opinion. Did better than I thought I was going to do. So it is important to understand that, like, the process of studying for the CPA, especially if you're doing one of these like Becker programs, CPA surgeon, whatever it may be, trust the process. Understand that they know what they're doing, and believe in yourself. That would be my last mistake. I wasn't believing myself in that moment, and understand that you've If you've really made the commitment, if you've really been dedicated to it, if you've been saying no to your friends, if you've been taking the hours out of your day to get through this and study it, you're probably in a good position. So believe in yourself. That's what I messed up on, and I hope other people learn from my mistakes.